Hello, everybody. Yes, we're back. It's the Creative Amplifiers team. It's a sunny Monday for some, and it's 8 o'clock, and we're here earlier. And it's so wonderful to be back. Hello, Mark. Hello, Lisa. How are you both doing?
Doing well.
Excellent work. Well done, Mr. New Producer.
Now, full disclaimer, if the show goes horribly wrong tonight, it's no longer Mark's fault. It's my fault because we're running the show from my side. And we're going live to about 200 places. So what could possibly go wrong with that? But we're doing our best to go live. And Substack is saying that we're live. So if you're out there in the Substack land, hello. I probably won't be able to see your comments tonight, but you can just give us a virtual wave anyway. So here we are. We're back. We've got a new look. We've got a new show. We've got a new idea. We've got all kinds of things going on. So I guess for those of you who don't know who we are, let's introduce ourselves first of all. My name is Neil. And we have in the middle.
Well, I am Mark.
And I'm Lisa.
And we are collectively known as the Creative Amplifiers. And it's three friends that have decided to get together and produce some shows and content for all you lovely people. So I guess, shall we start with telling people where we met and how it all began? I guess that's probably a good idea, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that. So we are all part of the Ecamm family. That's where we met. We didn't know ourselves before a year and a half ago, so we're relatively new friends, although we are firm friends now. And we met in Boston, or in Amesbury, Massachusetts. Ecamm did their first live event get-together. The three of us didn't know each other. I came across from the UK. Neil came over from Portugal. Lisa was in the US, came over from LA, and we happened to be in the same cabin and really enjoyed having fun going around doing all the events.
Wait, it
So
sounds like we were all staying in the same cabin. Explain that.
Explain the cabinness.
Like summer, yes, explain the cabin thing.
Summer camp, yeah, exactly. So they split everybody up into different groups that they called cabins, and we went round to do different workshops and different live stream related things called different cabins. So, and we were in, I think we're in the purple cabin, weren't we? Anyway, it doesn't really matter.
We were actually. This is like subliminal, isn't it? Because we've changed our colour scheme
Yeah.
to purple. So that's yeah, we were purple. That's
pretty
right.
much it.
Yeah.
So the essence of the story is that we didn't know each other before. We had such a great time while we were there. We went out for dinner on the last night, and we decided that we'd had such a good time, and we thought, why don't we just keep the party going? We wanted to sort of hang out. We were all going back to our different places around the world. We knew that we could use Ecamm as a way of just hanging out, having a good time, the chance to bring other people from the Ecamm community together. We thought we've got all this information now. We're used to being live in our different worlds that we were doing before that, which we'll talk about in a second. And that was kind of the essence of the Creative Amplifiers show, although Creative Amplifiers as a group was part of our cabin, which I'll let someone else explain.
I guess I can take it then. So the Creative Amplifiers, cabin. So we all had to basically come up with a name and a logo associated with our cabin, and we had different tasks and things. It was basically a competition with every other cabin, and we had the pleasure of being in the cabin with Diana Gladney, and we had Kelly, who was also there from the Ecamm farm, who designed the logo for us. So basically we got this logo and name directly from the cabin that we're in at the Ecamm camp, and we basically decided to go forward with this show based on the fact that we all got together and when we met at Ecamm, and now we're in a position where we're going to be doing something slightly different. But Lisa, what happened basically after we left Amesbury? Because we did think it would be a good idea to kick off this show with having some guests on and things, but as we all know, we all have great ideas, but we actually managed to follow through and continue with this show. So maybe explain a little bit what happened after that.
Yeah, we did manage to follow through, which was amazing. And probably in the matter of 6 to 7 weeks, I think we pulled the show together. And it was interesting because we each have our own talents and our ways of doing things, and we figured it out, and everybody just rose to the occasion, and it just worked. And suddenly we had a show that we were doing bi-weekly and had figured out the run of show, what the show looked like, what everybody's role was. And it was just a ton of fun. We had interviews with different people who used Ecamm, and it was, we went through 2 seasons, which was also amazing. And we were consistent and we didn't miss. And here we are now. Do we call this season 3? Is this the season 3 now, sort of?
I don't know.
Kind of?
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
We did have podcasts, so yeah.
yeah, we did. So this is also a podcast, so you can listen to it and obviously watch it on YouTube. And it's the new iteration because we want to help you now. We want to share our knowledge so you can do what we do individually or with other people. So I think that's the story now.
That's the plan. Yeah.
So we should mention that was back in 2023, wasn't it? We first
names.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's our first show was a Christmas show at the end of 2023. Right. So that was sort of how long we've managed to get it, how quickly, as Lisa said, we got it going, but then how quickly we've managed to get it going and then keep it going for the rest of that time. And the logo that we had, we've now, like I say, we've got a new iteration because, as you will see if you go to the YouTube channel and see seasons 1 and 2, the look will be slightly different based on the fact it was really very much sort of based around that Ecamm fam idea and sharing all of their stories. And like I said, we've now in a position to help you based on what we'd learnt and what we're learning even now.
So we've actually
learned a lot.
Yes, I'm going to say we've achieved a lot, and we've learned a lot. There's always been, interesting things along the way, getting everything set up. And as Mark has mentioned before, we're all in 3 separate countries right now, so we're all coming together on Zoom. This is effectively a Zoom call, and there's the 3 of us using Ecamm for Zoom, and this is how we're able to do that. So what we've decided to do is not completely drop the guest scenarios that we've had before. We're still planning to have some guests on the show from time to time, either industry experts or people from technology, people who have got some advice to impart to you guys. But the idea of the show now is really just to bring all that information together, and basically Mark had a wonderful way of putting it before, so I'll let Mark explain exactly what we're trying to do with this and then explain a little bit about what we want to do in the future.
Yeah, I should have written that down because it was really good before we started.
It was really good, yeah.
And I didn't take notes, sorry.
No, exactly.
I wasn't recording.
So I think the essence of what we wanted, and the reason we started originally, was because we had so much fun together and we wanted to keep that as well. But because we are in a position now, having done this sort of nearly 18 months of putting the show together, when people have asked us questions, you suddenly realise there's an awful lot of things that people need and an awful lot of things that we can help support people with. And that's really what we want to be able to do in terms of their helping you based on what we've learned, having put a whole show together, all the things from the tech, from the run of show, from organising workflows, all of that kind of stuff we've had to do together collaboratively, and sort of using our individual skills from what we've actually learned in our own sort of online world, which is going to be a key thing to then be able to present that to you. And we're going to come on each week, we're going to give you the opportunity to talk about a specific area, or we'll talk about a specific area, and then from there hopefully we'll be able to dive in based on your questions and some expert things that we can share with you.
And we've also decided to go live to multiple places as well, because I think YouTube is great, but we've also got people that we know and have known in the past as well, either on LinkedIn and other socials. So we're actually going live to various platforms as we speak. Through the power of Restream is helping us do that. So it's helping us give a bit of a broader reach to us as individuals as well, because we'll talk about in a minute what we actually do individually, as well as what we're planning to do together as this group. So it's going to be interesting, and it's a whole new different format for us, and something that we've been really passionate about. We've always wanted to help people. We've always wanted to encourage people to do something that we've done, putting a show together from scratch. And people can take it as far as they want. They can make a very simple show, or they can make it as complicated as they want. And what we want to do is guide you through those various steps that we've had to go through, that we've had to fall over and stumble as well. And I think collectively, the 3 of us have been able to pull this show off because of each of our own individual skills and the way that we've really worked together. But that doesn't mean to say that you have to do this in with 3 people, with 2 people. You can certainly do it individually. It's just that the steps that you have to go through are the same depending how big your team is. And that's what we want to help you with. So maybe we could just tell people, first of all, what do we do individually? And maybe we should just go to the ladies first. So, Lisa, would you like to tell people, See, and this is the humor that we've missed on this show. So here we are again.
Here we are again, back where we started. So my background started. I was sort of still is a food blogger, and I started doing cooking videos. So on my YouTube channel, that's what I built up, a YouTube channel called An Appetizing Life, and learned a lot from that because we were going live on Facebook Live when it very first started in 2016, which was, the Wild West of that. And during the pandemic, I completely stopped because the person who was my camera person, we couldn't be together because he had to go take care of his parents. And I honestly lost my love of cooking because there was too much going on. So I took my experience, and there were people who wanted to get online and wanted to know how to do this. And I took all my experience and I started teaching women, specifically over 50, who wanted to become content creators, who were thinking about doing live shows, who were thinking about doing podcasts. Video podcasts hadn't quite broken out the way they are now, but they were interested in it. So I just took all that experience, because why waste it? And just because I wasn't doing the show at the time, and I've been helping women do that all this time, and it just falls into what we're doing now as a group, collectively, bringing our skills together to teach people how to do live shows, how to be organized. I'm the organizer. I'm the Notion girl. But it's very, very important. Neil's laughing. It's very, very important because it just makes everything run smoother. So we're here to help you do it smoothly, not get overwhelmed, and use all of our experience from this show and from our individual endeavors. So that's my story.
That's the story. Mark?
Well, just before I get into my story, I think what Lisa said there is really, really important, because when we went from, oh, this is going to be fun, let's hang out and have a nice time and let's set up a show, as we first started getting together when we were back home, it's like I said, it's where those skills came together. Lisa was like, right, fine, I'm taking notes. I've already set everything up. We know what we're going to be doing. We're going to have the tasks that we need to do. But it was absolutely amazing, because without that, there's no way the whole thing would have come together so quickly. We wouldn't have known what to do week to week between our meetings, all of that. And I'm pretty organized, but Lisa was the one who was able to kind of do all that with her personal skill set. And, we got on when we were there, but I think actually it's amazing how each of our skill sets is different, but like I say, comes to the whole. But that's just sort of by the by, but a sort of a real life example of how all those things are really important.
Indeed, yeah. I don't think we could have put this together without the individual skills and having, people that are organized with us to be able to do that. So, we always say this, but thank you, Lisa, for, helping us get
organized.
Thank you
guys for all your
and starting.
for everything.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that you always need a Lisa, of course. Lisa can teach you how to be a Lisa. So, you can't steal her permanently on another show and just let her run with that. That's not the name of the game here, right? So just to make that clear. Anyway, Mark, sorry, over to you.
So, yeah, so my background is I'm a musician. I'm still a performing musician and educator. And my podcast, which has been going since 2016, is an education-related podcast, not music-focused, but my kids were going through school at the time. I was getting into podcasting in terms of a listener, and I thought, actually, this is really, really interesting. I was going around lots of schools, seeing lots of teachers in schools banging their heads against a brick wall going, I got into this to make a difference to children's lives, and I'm tick boxing and marking and doing lots of things as well as trying to be a great educator. And one of the benefits I had was that I was in lots of different schools, so I was able to then actually say, well, if I talked to a person in this school who was doing something different, or there was a charity or an organization doing an amazing piece of work here, or the opportunity to work with a different school. And I thought the podcast basically came out of that. If I could have those conversations on a podcast, hopefully it was going to support another person in a different school. So that was essentially what it was. And as luck would have it, I had a few people that I was able to ask to have those first conversations, and it just grew and grew and grew. And then more and more people said, oh, great, because I'd come across this, and I'm an author, I've started doing a course for this, or I'm a teacher, I've done this, I run a set of schools, I've done that, I've got a charity that's doing climate related stuff, and I help people in schools. And so it just snowballed, and that was 444 episodes later. I think that my 444th went live today, which is, it's just been a fantastic journey, and it's something I really, really enjoyed. Started just as audio, and as Lisa said, the video podcasts have started to get more popular. I was already doing some live streaming to support the podcast. I'd done some online summits and some sort of remote production stuff, hence the reason I went over to Amesbury to do the eCam camp to begin with. And so yeah, it sort of started to pull all of those things together, and then out of that's come the opportunity that I would never have thought of. I've worked for a London PR company, actually training people how to do podcasts, from their initial ideas through the tech, through how you put all the workflows together as a real sort of overview, and then been able to support them to get their podcasts up and running. So I've sort of almost fallen into it from a passion, which I think is really why we're passionate about doing this, because no matter where you are, how you get into this online world and creating content, it's all about sharing information to other people that you think might help. It's about community, it's about conversations, and if you can do that, then the rest of it is what we're here to help you with, whether it's a workflow, whether it's the tech, whether it's understanding how all these things get put together. But it's really about who you are already, about the passion that you have, and wanting to share that with people that you know will benefit.
Marvelous. And it's fair to say that your podcast skills have just got better and better over the years. When you first started, of course, you start with the basic skill set, the basic materials, and now look, 400 and what are you in now? Sorry, what's 400?
444 episodes have gone live. That doesn't include the live streams and podcasts
amazing.
I've done.
It is amazing.
But
Congratulations. Well, and you're everywhere, right? You're on Apple, and you can find you on Education on Fire, right?
Yeah, exactly. Any podcast platform you will find Education on Fire. It will be there as soon as you search.
Wonderful.
Can I just say one thing?
Of course.
Why I say it's amazing, because most people don't get past 10 episodes
No, that's
when they
true.
start a podcast, because they realize how much it takes to do it. So kudos to you. Bravo.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And I think that's why this idea of community is important, because understanding what's involved from the outset and setting yourself up for success, I think, is really key. Like I say, it's easy one afternoon to think I'm just going to do this, and then, like I say, it's easy to peter out. But actually having all the information to begin with, and then having the support of an ongoing people that can help you, then that's the real key to success. And I had that through an online group and people that were able to support me. So yeah, I'm the beneficiary of that kind of way of working.
Fantastic. And and it's not an easy thing. There is this crazy statistic as well around podcasts, right? There's I don't know, is it 350 something thousand, 300 million or something podcasts out there? There's like a crazy number of podcasts that are actually on the Apple directory if you look into them. And then there's about 95% of them that haven't uploaded in the last 12 months or something, which is crazy, or even longer. So you're in a very small percentage of people that are consistent with their podcast. So it's amazing. And yeah, wonderful. Love it. Right. I guess I'll talk about myself for a couple of minutes. Not terribly interesting. So I'm a semi-retired, I am a retired IT consultant. I was been in the IT space for 35 years, but I always had a passion for audio and video. I moved to Portugal a few years ago, and I've had a ton of camera gear with me for many years. I started my YouTube channel in 2016. It was basically around basic tutorials on Final Cut Pro and vlogging. So that was my idea, and that didn't go terribly well. But I decided that it would be much better in the future to actually start creating some content that maybe would help other people learn cameras and other things like I had to do as well. So I wasn't a camera person from the age of 12. I started my camera journey around sort of 15 years ago. And I created a small documentary when I was here in Portugal, which was a really difficult thing to do, but also a really rewarding experience, filming hours and hours of content and putting together something that would be given back to the community as a keepsake for documenting this couple's journey in building their family home and then handing that over to the local village. So that was something that I was really passionate about, getting my teeth into creating filming. And I thought, well, this isn't an easy thing to do, and I'm sure other people are struggling as well. So I decided to try and make some more tutorial videos around sort of camera and video production and so on. And that morphed into turning my sort of passion into a small business that I'm now running now, where I'm basically helping solopreneurs, content creators, people that just want to look better on camera with a video and audio production. And I got involved with Ecamm a few years ago because I was trying to do some live streaming, and I found some of the other tools out there at the time were a little bit complicated to use and didn't work for me. I came across Ecamm and I started making a few tutorials for them as well, and that's how I got involved with the Ecamm production side of things. And then I met these two lovely people at Creative Amplifiers a couple of years ago, and we all have a similar goal where we all want to do working with people, helping people out, and basically using our knowledge that we've gained over the years and helping people get better with video production, whether it be live streaming, audio, podcasting, or whatever it might be. So that's basically how we have all got together, and that's sort of my very simple story. But it's all around learning the mistakes that you've made, learning from those, and then helping others not hopefully make those mistakes, or at least get them away from those mistakes, or helping them fix problems as quickly as possible. So that's what we're planning to do, and we've all got different skill sets, and I think all of our skill sets, when we came together, really complemented each other in terms of how we brought this show together. So it's not one person's show, and it certainly couldn't be put together if it was just one of us doing this on our own. So as we said, we now are in a position where we want to teach you, starting off from the beginning stages of I've got a concept, I've got an idea, and we want to go from idea to live. And that's the whole plan of what we're doing. So how are we planning to do that for people? What are we planning to do over the next sort of few weeks and things to get people interested, up to speed, and so on? Who would like to mention about that?
Take it away, Lisa.
Oh, I was just going to say, take it away, Mark.
I'll take it away.
We do know what we're doing. I just thought I'd give a opportunity.
We're very polite about who does what. I like that.
Mark's doing all of it.
Keep it in English. Keep it in English. Exactly. Well, I think the first thing to say is that, we've done a very sort of brief outline of what we've done over the years. Neil's was very modest there in terms of his technical skill sets, because he's helped us out all the time, and I think that's one of the key factors that we want to get across, is the fact that normally you have to find someone that you trust and that's able to help you. But where do you go? You go to another random video, you do a course, you do all manner of individual things, but you're never quite sure where that support's going to come from. We found ourselves in a community, and now a fantastic community of 3, and between us we're able to help and support each other in all sorts of different areas, whether it's Neil doing the tech and being able to sort of sort out some of those areas, like I was saying, all the things that Lisa's been able to do just to help us run the show and pull all those things together, and her wealth of experience of being able to do all those live shows over the years. And so hopefully what we're going to do week on week is we're going to sort of take one aspect of what we've done to produce a show and actually talk about it, so you can understand the ins and outs of it, and actually what that might look like for you, because what this show looks like and how we produce it doesn't need to be the same as your show. It just needs to be, what is it that I'm trying to produce and why am I trying to do it? So maybe you've got a business, or you're a solopreneur and you think I can do all this in person, but I want to take it online. I want to share my information, I want to share my skills, or I want to be able to sort of let other people know about it in a way that's going to be useful. Maybe you've got a hobby that you just want to share with your local community. There's some fantastic people out there who just love a certain thing and they can't get out into the real world, or their local community, or the people that are part of this particular thing they're passionate about don't live close by. And so you can make a video, go live, and actually interact and be part of that community on whichever days you want to do. And again, that always looks different, whether you go live every day, whether you're doing it once a week, once a month, whatever it is for you. But understanding the process of what you're doing, why you're trying to do it, who you're trying to help, and then what your sort of goals are for that. Is it just for you to have a bit of fun? Are you looking to turn it into a business? Are you looking to be able to collaborate with other people and grow it into something else? Whatever it happens to be, but you kind of need to at least know where you're starting from, and then understanding what it is that you need to put it together. Is it one microphone? Is it one camera? If you're doing crafts, do you need overhead cameras to be able to show things like that? If you want to be able to go live to multiple destinations, do you do that with one particular piece of software? Do you do it with lots of pieces of software? can you literally just use a webcam? Can you use your phone? Do you need a really sort of sophisticated camera? Can you do it outside? Can you do it with a wireless mic? Can you do it with real lighting? Do you need other lighting to make it all look really fancy? We can take you through what all of those things are from that starting point. Like Neil said, when I started back in 2016, I literally had one microphone that plugged into my computer and I had Skype. And that's all I needed. And actually a shout out to Ecamm again, because I used call recorder, which was for Skype, which is how I sort of then recorded it and was able to upload it. But that's all we needed just to begin with. And of course, since then it's grown. I've got more sophisticated gear, a bit of different workflow, but it all starts from just that first thing. What can you manage? How much time do you got? How much money do you have? How much effort can you put into it? And what you're trying to do. And each week we'll talk about one particular part of all of that and explain how that can work for you. And then we want to support you then with some more sort of personalized workshops, because as we said, it's the community idea, it's the working together. And rather than having to go and find a video or go and find a course or do all those things and then be on your own, it's about doing it collectively. So us being able to answer your questions in real time, take you through some things. If you've got a direct question, we'll be here to answer those things. And we can sort of piece that together in a way that hopefully is going to make sense to you. But it's all based on our personal experience of putting this show together, making it work in a way that we were able to do from a sustainability point of view, both in time and effort, and also then to make it look in a way and be supportive for everyone that's going to take part.
Wonderful. I don't think
beautifully said.
I couldn't have said it better myself. So there you go. Well, that's it. That's the show. Thanks for coming. No, I'm just kidding. Wonderful. Thank you for putting all that together, Mark. And it is, I think, a really important point when I speak to people about the YouTube channels or they've got this idea. Those questions are really important. That initially, is it going to be a passion project for fun? Are you just going online and want to share your ideas and thoughts with the world? Or are you actually get serious about potentially turning this into a revenue generating piece of content? And are you doing it then to build up a business, build a brand and monetize whatever you're actually trying to do? And I think there's only really two ways of how that should be going now, because I think people are either in that mindset of I've got this idea, I'm going to build this channel up, I'm going to go out there and go online, but they don't really have a view of how they're going to take it forward. And I think we can definitely help you with that in terms of just setting up initially your ideas and your goals. And there is a foundations part of the workshop where we're not talking about tech, software, where are you going online, doesn't really matter. Do you have an idea? How do you want to push that idea forward, and what medium do you want to use that idea in? You might not even want to be on camera. You might be more than happy just to do an audio podcast, which are still very popular and very successful. So there's lots of different things that we can help you with. But I think how you've explained that, Mark, in terms of taking people from that initial idea all the way through to a fully produced show, and whatever that show looks like to you, then that's definitely what we're going to help you with. And I think Lisa had a great point just on the pre-show around collaboration. So maybe is that something you want to talk about?
Absolutely. So my other background is I worked in film and television back in the day, a lot of television shows. And so, a little point. So, right now the industry is not doing well since the strikes and everything else that's happening. So what's happening is we're starting to see more content creators come together and collaborate to produce their own, I like to say you're producing your own media company. And I think it's a really powerful thing because especially if you did come from television or film, the networks and the studios aren't doing the deals they used to do. They aren't doing a lot of things they used to do. So people just don't have that outlet. So why not create your own thing? And I started working with a lot of people from the industry that are like, hey, I've got this idea. I was like, well, shoot it. Start your own YouTube channel. Do it. You have control. Take back your agency and have control over it. So since we have our experience of being collaborators and how that works, and if you're thinking about that as an individual content creator, of finding other people you can work with and create your own, like I said, media world, we can help you do that because that's the direction it's heading. I'm starting to see things that studios are doing, that they're looking for content creators who are already on YouTube that actually, no no shade to anybody, but actually have talent and have some substance. And they feel like, okay, we can work with them and use that. But why not take control, take agency, do the show you want to do with no gatekeepers. It's all yours. It's how you want to do it, and do it individually or do it as a collaborative effort. So that's what I'm cheering on these days.
Definitely. And I think it's important to say as well that the smaller content creators are able to elevate their presence and get a stab at being popular and having a voice as well, because YouTube, it's the biggest platform for video, we know that, and it's been changing recently. We've seen that the smaller creators with less than 2,000 subs and below are bubbling up. They've got voices, they've got some really decent content out there, and YouTube is giving them the ability to air their voice. And with collaboration, being on other people's shows, being on podcasts, being things like that, it again elevates your presence. It gives you that ability to show your worth, show your content on other people's shows as well. So it's a great time, I think, to be a content creator, especially with the economy as it is, things changing in the let's not go into politics, but with things that are changing at the moment. Sorry, things that are changing at the moment. You know, we have no idea what's going to happen, and I think it's an excellent time to air your voice, get online, record some stuff, get your messages across, and hopefully we can help you with that journey, and we can help you definitely get from this idea all the way through doing some form of production online and whatever that looks like to you.
Can I say something that you just brought up? You do not have to have a very large audience or, you know, hundreds of thousands of followers, this, that, and the other, to have a substantial presence and make some money as a content creator. So don't think you have to be this influencer or you have to have a million, this, that, and the other. You can do quite well without all of that. So just be consistent and have substance, right?
Yeah.
Consistency and substance. That's all.
And there's a couple of things I'd jump on there. One is the fact that my podcast literally started as a passion project. You know, it was just a way of having those conversations. As I said, computer, microphone into the computer, and just an audio, and then conversations. But from that, I mean, it was never a plan for it to become a business. I mean, I'm in the privileged position now that between my sort of performing life and my education life, you know, the online life is a third of my income. You know, it's an integral part of what I do. But it sort of happened organically. It happened because what I was producing, people really liked. I managed to get a sponsor for the show, and that wasn't about any kind of particular number, like you're saying. But you know, so celebrities who are suddenly starting their own shows with millions of people that already know who they are. It was about actually having a message in the conversations which they thought were really integral and really important, and they wanted to be part of that. So you can have those collaborations early on, and like I said, the ability to then do that becomes part and parcel of your life. And then to be able to work, like I said, with PR companies and actually do podcast training and those things, they all came organically out of all of those things. So even if you're starting something with just sort of a small idea, it can flourish into something else. And the second point was actually, I think, what you said about the production side. You know, we're here sort of three talking heads, being able to sort of share our story and do that with you. But actually your show can just be, like I say, an audio thing, but it can also look like a TV set or a movie set. You know, depending on how many cameras you've got, it doesn't just have to be us talking into a camera. You could literally have it so you've got multiple cameras. You could actually have a professional set or a professional looking set, multiple guests, multiple chairs, backdrops, scenes. You know, if you think of those sort of, I always think of those sort of scenes that you see your favorite TV show when you sort of see a picture of it behind the cameras. So you sort of see the sets, you see all the people working on the show. you can do that. And you can actually do that yourself if you're in that position. Like Lisa said, if you've got the collaboration, if you've got the idea and you want to do it, all of those things, it's just a multiple of everything that we're talking about. The actual idea and the substance and how you'd go about it's the same. You're just multiplying some of those skills that you've got. So don't be sort of thinking it has to look a certain way. Come, as we said before, come up with your idea and what you're trying to do, and then we can help you build all of that to actually make it a reality.
I think also, I'm sorry, Neil, didn't mean to interrupt, but I think also the tools and the technology that are available make it so much much easier than from when it was 2016 for me trying to do a cooking show with 5 little cameras around and, switching on not eCam, something else. And if I had the technology that is available today to do that show that I did in 2016, it would have been a completely different process and much easier, less overwhelm. So it's there for you,
I was just about to say similar thing. When I actually started with I had a YouTube channel before this YouTube channel, and we're not gonna talk about that. But that was all about old retro technology. But and the reason why I bring it up is because I was on a green screen. I had a Canon 7D, which was the predecessor, the one after, sorry, the Canon 5D Mark II, the one where it changed the game for everybody. You've got a DSLR camera now that actually shoots just like a movie. And that was pioneering at the time, and it was just mind-blowing that you could have a cinema quality type of image in this sort of consumer level camera. So that's where I actually started with my camera, and it was so difficult to get, one, a decent image, two, the editing process was hard work. It was the old version of Final Cut. It was just so arduous to get anything done. It used to take me hours and hours just to edit the basic thing. Nowadays, you've got software and tools and equipment that can do these things so quickly and so easily. People should never be overwhelmed or get disparaged by the tech and the tools. That's what we can do. We can help you and guide you and tell you which are the best tools and software to use for your particular project. We have no allegiance to any manufacturer or software. We're going to choose and help you decide which particular set of equipment and software is the best for your particular use case. So let us deal with the tech, and you can focus on doing what you do, which is your idea and getting your message out there. Because at the end of the day, nobody now should have a barrier to entry when it comes to airing their voice online, because it's never been easier. And I think with the tools and AI, it's let's just go and do it together. It's so easy now.
Yes.
Stunned silence. Stunned silence. Just do it now. Right?
Just do
That's it. Our job here is done.
I think I think what you said there is really true, and I think if you think about it as in learning anything, so let's assume that you've never done anything like this before. Whatever your new project was, whatever your new hobby was going to be, you'd start by learning the basis in whichever way that happens to be, whether you're copying something from a magazine or a book or a pamphlet or something like that. You learn it in your own way. What's the very starting point to help me get going? Whatever that happens to be. It's golf season now. The majors are coming through. You're not talking about going to the Masters and trying to hit a ball over the lake in your first thing. You may go to your local club and actually decide what sort of clubs there are. Talk to a professional. Have the ability to know what a golf swing is. You're starting right at those very basic things, and then bit by bit, you increase your clubs, you go round a course, you get off the driving range, you realise that it's not all about hitting it as hard as you possibly can, but you've got people that can help you and support you with that, and the community of enjoying doing those things. And I think it's that same idea of you only need to know what you need to know now. We're not trying to teach you everything all in one go. We're trying to show you the blueprint. We're trying to show you the overarching idea to get you from your concept to being live, whatever your live is. But actually gives you that sense of, we can take you through that. It's absolutely fine. And the more that you do, the more that you can expand. So from a real sort of technical explanation from here, I said with my audio podcast, I was able literally to plug my microphone into my laptop and record. We can talk about the technical things about it being USB and not using an XLR cable. I can expand about the fact that from having done that, I got a different microphone that did have an XLR cable, and it went into an interface, and then I could adjust the amount of sound that I had, and then it was recorded on a different piece of software. But at the end of the day, that was a very organic process. What I recorded at the beginning was just as valuable as what I recorded it as I'm recording now. I've just been able to make it more sophisticated, and the quality is maybe higher to some degrees, but if you know what you're trying to achieve and the quality you want to begin with a good foundation, then I think you're going to start and enjoy it with all that information that you have off the bat.
Yeah, I think our whole thing is we don't want to have you be overwhelmed in trying to do this, because if you're overwhelmed, you're not going to do it. It's just a simple fact. So, we want you to understand the process. You can start small, like Mark just said, not be overwhelmed, and then gradually improve your camera, level up. But you don't have to start buying all the equipment and all this, that, and the other. We just want you to have a solid show, get started, have fun, not be overwhelmed.
That's right. And we've all started like that. I'm sorry, go ahead, Mark.
I was just going to say, I was just going to pass the buck on to you, because I was going to say, part of your expertise is the fact that you also have people who've been doing stuff for a while that have got to the point where they can do so much themselves, but they need your help to improve their gear, to have different workflows, to actually advance what they're doing already. So it is starting from those beginning points if that's where you are. But if you are further down the track, we're not trying to say, oh, don't do this, don't do that. We'll meet you wherever you are, because I think we can take you there depending on what you need as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good point. I've got people that I work with at the moment that are very familiar with camera setups and things, but they just might want some help with the studio setup, the studio environment, lighting, positioning of lights, set design. There's all kinds of things that you start to think about when you want to have a show, and you may never want to go live. You may just want to record your respective messages, your shows, and then just pop them onto YouTube and let the money come rolling in. You might just want to do that, but it all completely depends on what you want. And we've worked with various people over the years. We've also attended courses, we've attended workshops, we've basically created courses as well. I've got a course out at the moment, but everybody learns differently. And the idea behind this is to give you, as Mark said, some sort of bite-sized snippets of information on a weekly basis live, where you can come and join us, say hello, ask some questions, get involved. And then further down the line, we're going to be creating some targeted workshops to take you from inception all the way through to your main show. And that's going to be created in the next few months, and we're going to be launching those once we have people who want to get involved, and I'll tell you how to get involved and sign up and things like that later. But for now, we're going to be producing this free content for you here on the various social platforms to get you started and to get you encouraged. And that's the main thing. We just want to encourage you. We just want you to get on with what you want to do and just have fun with it, like we have had over the last 18 months. And content creation is not going anywhere. In fact, it's going to double and double and double as we go on, and there's no better time now to start getting online and creating your content. I will say hello to somebody who has just joined us, and if you are watching us at the moment, just say hello. Don't be shy. Just say who you are, where you're from. Are you interested in content creation? You must be if you listen to this show, so come and say hello and tell us what you're up to. We've got Ender Trading here. Hello, thank you for joining us all the way from sunny Ireland. I hope you're enjoying the weather as Mark is in the sunny UK. I have no idea what it's like over there. I've given you all the sunshine here in Portugal, Mark, at the moment. So it's okay, but it's obviously not as hot as where you are at the moment. But there you go. Yeah. So shall we talk about where people can get information about us and what they're going to get? I will talk you through that then. So we have our YouTube channel. It's not going anywhere. It's still called the Creative Amplifiers. And we also have a website, which is really just a landing page. So if you go over to creativeamplifiers.live, that's basically just going to take you to where all our content is going to be now. So if you want to find out more about what we're going to be doing, and so on. Then we have a Substack page, which is right here. And the Substack page is where we're going to be posting all our content. Our podcasts that we've produced previously are all on here as well. We've got some posts that we've already pushed up there. I'm just going to say, can I manage cookies? I accept all. Okay, I'll accept all. Let's go back. Okay. Oops. Substack. There we go. So we've got various posts that we've already put up there. This is where we're going to be showing you all the content that we are posting on a weekly basis. There's the people that are posting the content. You may recognize them. And each week we're going to be posting a bite-sized chunk of information that will help you with a particular topic. And those topics will be pushed out on a weekly basis. We're also going to be going live on Substack. We are live right now on Substack. In fact, that's what I'm seeing right here at the top. This is us. I'm not going to press the button, but we are live right now on Substack. So all our shows are going to be pushed to our Substack site as well. You can get involved simply by just going to the Substack page, which is substack.creativeamplifiers. And if you give us your email address, we will send you a nice welcome email that will include this PDF. And this PDF is really just an overview of some tips and tricks on how to get yourself started with creating your show, whether it be live or recorded. It's entirely up to you. The process is pretty much the same. It's only the end live show that's going to be slightly different. And this PDF will just take you through various different things in terms of sort of building your personal brand, boosting your show, getting to know who your audience is and really understanding the audience before you even start to go live. So this PDF is packed with all kinds of useful information around how to sort of set up and start your live stream. So head over to our Substack page. We'll give you the link now. I'll just post that in the chat. And then we can tell you more about what's coming. You'll get notified when the workshop is live as well. So we're going to have a limited number of seats for the workshop because obviously we want to keep it very focused and very targeted. And we are going to be running multiple workshops over time. But for starters, we're just going to limit the number of spaces on the first workshop to help you get set up with your live streaming production or your actual video production, audio content, or whatever it might be. So we'll get those notifications out to you via the Substack site. We'll also let you know, obviously, if you tune into the live shows when the workshop is going to be live. But this is where we're going to be sort of curating all our content from now on. And we love Substack. I've got my own Substack page, so has Mark and so has Lisa. And I think it's a great platform to have engagement as well. You can send us comments, you can get involved, let us know about what you want. So everything is going to be focused on Substack because we find it much more engaging and much more helpful for people who just want to get involved. So that's where people can find us, and that's what we're up to. So Substack, you like Substack, don't you, Lisa? You've just got your teeth right into your Substack.
I've got I'm all in there. I think it's an interesting, platform to explore. So
yes.
Why not?
The thing I've enjoyed is, like you said, that sense of being able to upload a post and have all that written content, short bite-sized
audio,
the ability to be able to upload videos if we want to. Obviously we're going live at the moment. The ability to have comments and notes and actually have interaction. It's a sort of a one place where you can sort of live and get the sorts of information that you want in the way that you want to have it. And it's exciting, and it's something that I've been enjoying and sort of exploring over the last few months, and can't wait to dive in even more.
It feels like a very nice, safe, respectful place to be, I think, compared to other platforms, shall we say. And I went through my sort of I'm going to say midlife crisis, but it was my New Year's crisis where I was trying to work out what platform to actually start posting on things. I'm just going to turn my Rodecaster down because I've got whistling in my ears. It's not my old age, it's my Rodecaster. And what was interesting is I tried to get engaged and involved in some of these platforms, but the problem is the platform is only as good as the people on it. And if your audience, if your friends, if your colleagues, if your collaborators are not on that platform, then there's just no point in being there. You're just basically wasting your time pushing out content that's going into the ether. So when we were talking about what we were doing with our show and rebranding and things, and Lisa mentioned about Substack, and I think I was looking at it at the same time. A lot of people were saying, do you go down the Substack route, Beehive? What's the place for having a newsletter and content and so on? So I thought, why not? Substack is a great place to be, and I just like the format. It's not the easiest platform to get up and running, but it's getting better. And the fact that they're making it video first now is really important, I think, for content creators. So I think that's going to be fun.
And you see a lot of different folks on here. There's, besides, it started off as a place for writers and authors and the publishing world. And now there's a lot of journalists. You're starting to see more mainstream actors and actresses and, producers on there, poets, everything. It's a whole food world out there. Yeah. So everybody's kind of coming there, and it's a nice community. Once you find your folks, it's nice. So
absolutely. We have some comments. People have decided to say hello. Saeed was basically saying that he was lurking, but now he's going to say hello. So don't lurk. Just come and say hello, Saeed. It's a friendly place. So thank you for joining us tonight, Saeed. It's really nice. Roy said rebranding. Roy, we've done our best on social platforms. See what I mean? You post these social things out. Nobody takes any notice. I'm just kidding. Yes, we are rebranding. We're just having a new style. Join us on Substack, Roy, and you'll get the lowdown on what's going on. And we're not saying anything specifically about you. I know you're on certain platforms, so we wouldn't be saying anything bad about the tech troublemaker. But let us know, Roy, as well. Which platforms are you harvesting and owning at the moment? I mean, are you going all in on LinkedIn or something, or are you still on Instagram? There's lots of different platforms out there. I mean, as you know from my other show, I've been pushing LinkedIn because I think from a professional perspective, there's lots of professionals out there that simply want to leveling up their video content. They really want to start doing better on video, and the days of the Zoom call with people looking up your nose, those days are over. This is your digital CV now. This is your new business suit. So you got to stand up and look reasonable and respectful when you're actually talking to prospects, other business people, and so on. And how many people out there are actually taking interviews online? So you've got to think about that as well. So it's not just about having the best gear, as we said, but you can do so much with basic lighting to just make the simplest, most basic camera look a lot better. And Roy's posting tons of comments now. Be careful what you wish for, Neil. So let's go back to the comments then. So Roy was saying, oh, you're only kidding. I know. You don't want to go to Substack. Okay. Well, then you can join us here every week, Roy. It's not a problem. Tech Troublemaker YouTube is my tried and true. I'll only focus on others once I conquer it on YouTube. Yes. And the thing is, Roy, it's a slow and steady process with YouTube. And there are unicorns that bubble up and basically get famous overnight. But I think as long as you have the right messages, if you know your audience, and if you have something to say that resonates with your audience, then that's the place for you. And
this, real quickly, this is a good example. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, stay on that particular comment. This is a good thing to talk about, because this is something we're going to go into as far as platforms, because YouTube serves a purpose, but say Instagram serves a purpose more for social media, which is different from what YouTube acts as. It's not a social media platform. It's a search engine, a giant search engine. So you have to know, what do you need for what purpose? As Neil was saying, LinkedIn serves a certain purpose. X serves a certain purpose. And so X serves a certain purpose. And so that's one of the things we'll be going through as you're trying to figure out where you need to be and where your people are and where you're comfortable putting yourself out at. Because some people aren't comfortable on X, or some people aren't comfortable on Instagram. And what do you need to use to spread your message and get the eyeballs you need to watch your shows? That's all I had to say.
No, that's a perfectly valid thing to say. And as Roy said, we're essentially a video podcast, and YouTube is the top podcast platform at the time. And Sai says Twix. I think he means X. Twix.
Can I just jump in? Also, it's also that sense of what is it that these platforms are doing as well, and the fact that just being part of a community and having these conversations, because things are changing so fast. So when someone says to me, well, first of all, from my audio podcast, when that started, I had to explain what a podcast was, and that was only less than 10 years ago. And now everyone knows what a podcast is and where to get them and that kind of thing. So you can see how fast that's changed. Most people know what a podcast is. A lot of people know what a podcast is. Anyway, YouTube was sort of something which was on your phone, you watch a few videos, that kind of thing. And I think one of the things that we now know is that actually so many people are watching YouTube on their television. So therefore, what you're wanting to do and what you're wanting to produce, it's like, well, if people are watching it on big screen televisions, then you literally are
vertical too.
Making a TV show. You know, you literally can create, if your content is actually that kind of entertainment show, then it's perfect, because people are watching telly being entertained. You just basically have your own studio that you're able to do it as well. And that's a very different concept than even it was, you know, a year or two ago. So these things are constantly evolving. So I think being part of a community where we can have these discussions, explain what we're learning from other people as well, and like I say, getting industry experts to come on and tell us some of those things is going to be a really exciting venture.
I love the fact that Go on, sorry.
I just came up with an idea for something. Go on.
Okay, see, we're always brewing ideas. I was going to say that one of the things that people forget about, I think, with YouTube is that a lot of social platforms are post, see, and forget. Well, YouTube is an evergreen platform. Your content lies there for as long as you want it to. And people can come across and find your content years later. The reason why I'm bringing this up is one of my most successful videos, believe it or not, is a Final Cut Pro tutorial, which is one of my first ever videos. It's got 37,000 views now, which is not a lot for some people, but it's a lot for me. And it basically keeps just serving people, because for whatever reason, the workflow that I put in that video still applies today. And that video is, I want to say 10 years old now, maybe 9 years old. And I still get comments. They say, hi, I'm here in 2025. They still haven't done anything different with this. Your video has helped me. So the point I'm trying to make is that a lot of the social platforms that we have available today are this post and forget. Certain, I don't know, it's a story in Instagram. I think it's a story where you post it, it lasts 24 hours and disappears, or whatever it is. So there's things like that that you have to be mindful of as well. So we're living in an age as well where there's many people of many ages being on YouTube. People are retiring all the time, have something really interesting to talk about and want to have a voice and maybe let other people learn about it. So there's no barrier to entry in terms of age. It's not a young person's platform. It's not an old person's platform. It's an everybody platform. So it doesn't matter who you are, what message you have, or what state in terms of where you are along the lines of your production. You can basically use YouTube. And if you've got something to say that's interesting to people, then just come and talk to us and we can help you get that message across.
Definitely.
Are you basically saying that the late teens and early 20s aren't necessarily going to be identifying with us in the same way that other people are?
And on that bombshell, let's go to the comments. So Saeed says, but still better than forget to post. Absolutely, yeah. Now, you have to post. That's the point. Yeah, so we can help you with not forgetting to post. I mean,
that's funny.
Content strategy and content calendars are very important as well. And I'd be interested to know from the two of you, wonderful people, to my whatever side that is. Do you have a content posting strategy and calendar on a weekly basis? I'll start with ladies first.
I do, but I here I go backwards again to what you were talking about with the YouTube posting and letting it go. Because I have a video myself that's about how to cook broccoli that I did, I don't know, 7 years ago, and got a crazy amount of views.
Boom.
Yeah. So I like to think of every video you put out as it's its own little business, and you have to care for it as far as once you post, you still have to take care of it. You have to put it out there so the eyeballs get on it. You have to make sure people know about it, because it does go on and on and on and on. It still generates money. Like that one video, I still make money off of every month, and I haven't done anything different with it. It's there, it exists. So that's going back to that. But as far as content calendars, I'm a big user of Later because I like to batch and schedule posts. And so I do our show, I do my own things that I do, and it just helps. Batching is so important. So you're not waking up and go, oh my God, I've got to like post something. What am I going to do? To have that content calendar. And even if you use pen and paper, which I'm over here making notes, as I said, but pen and paper is great. You can jot it down and use an old school calendar, go old school. It's fine. But you need something so you're not scrambling that day because you're posting. And that goes back to the overwhelm thing. The more you can plan out, the more you know what you're doing, the more you can batch, the less overwhelm, the more fun this is going to be.
Absolutely.
So could you just undo Saeed's comment? And then,
yeah, I will. I just noticed that as well.
That will help me say what I'm going to say.
So Saeed basically says that I do not trust people who have a content calendar. Am I the only one posting and the mood inspires me? I think it all depends, and I'll let Mark take this, but I think I have my thoughts. I'll let Mark take this first, and then we'll go from there.
I'm laughing at all these comments.
I know, they're great.
They're pretty funny.
The reason I thought that was worth seeing first is the fact that it really goes back to what we've already said about why you're doing what you're doing. So I do have a calendar. My podcast goes out on a Monday morning here in the UK. The great thing is if you want to change it up, as long as you tell people what you're doing, they know what that is. But I know from a podcast point of view, the podcast that I want to listen to, I want to know that on my commute on this day, this podcast is going to be live because it's an integral part of my day. It's how I want to be entertained, how I want to learn, what that part of the community I want to be involved in. So if you have an ad hoc version of that, then you're not going to know what that is, and it kind of goes off your radar. So I think having a content calendar, which can be seasonal, it can change, but actually people knowing that on this day at this time, this content's going to be available, and them being part of your ongoing journey. So as Lisa said, there are certain episodes which actually are really beneficial for a certain topic or a certain thing that you've been talking about, but also you have this continual journey of what are we going to be talking about next week. I know I want to be listening on my commute or taking the dog for a walk or while I'm in the gym, whatever that happens to be. It's part of my routine, and I think building up that community from a listenership point of view and from people who want to be part of your world and the thing that you're creating, I think that regularness is really key. And from a practical point of view, there's a certain amount of weekly work that goes into that. But as Lisa said, I batch as well. So I record a certain number of podcasts on a certain number of days, and then they go into my workflow in terms of editing and social media, and then it being scheduled in whether it's video, whether it's audio only, however that happens to work. But I think understanding, like we said, why you're doing it and who it's for gives you the answer to what's going to work best for you.
Yeah, just because we say this is what we recommend, if it doesn't work for you, it's fine. We'll find another way to make it work. Because that's the bottom line. What's the best for you?
Absolutely. Some comments coming in. Roy says he can't read his own handwriting. Then you need to use a digital font, but that's okay. That's no problem. I can't read my own writing as well. Funny story for that. Roy says, I do go live the same day, same time every week, but my recorded stuff is released as soon as I complete it because I don't have the patience to wait a few days for something to release. And I think it all just depends, as Lisa said, on you and your workflow. Personally, I work with clients that have some deadlines with regards to podcast production, video editing, or whatever that might be. I'm working with them either live at remote production. So I have to fit my work around them. They're the priority. So if I've got something that I need to create, then I will make sure that every sort of Sunday I will go through and do my call it my Sunday posting schedule, where I'll have my calendar and I'll work out exactly what I'm hopefully going to do in the week. It's not as horrific as it used to be as an IT person, where you'd have everything planned out in the week and then you'd get some crazy calls coming in. No, you got to do this now and drop everything. So at least you have a little bit more control. Well, at least I do now, over what I'm trying to produce on a weekly basis. But I think it's important to at least plan something. And as to Mark's point, people that are successful, I think, are the ones that, and I use this word lightly, consistency, in terms of consistently showing up on the same time, on the same day, because you are like your favorite TV show. Back in the days of Dallas, when I was a kid, I knew that 8:30 on a Thursday, Dallas was on, and I didn't have a VCR. If I missed it, I'm done. So I have to sit there. I know that Dallas is ready. Who shot JR? Don't tell anybody, because there's certain people in my family that haven't even watched that episode yet, so they don't want to know. But apart from that,
my God,
I think it's important. It was a man from Atlantis. No, it was important, I think, to have a regular show that shows up at a certain time if you're expecting that. And there are shows that I like watching on YouTube on a Sunday as well, where these people show up and they post regularly at that particular time. So it's nice. You can sit down, you can watch your favorite show, you can listen to your favorite podcast. You know it's going to be that. So if you're going to be intentional about creating something that people are resonating with, are interested with, then be consistent with your posting schedule. But if you've got ad hoc things that you want to do, I'm the same. I'll create a video and I'll post it when I feel like it, or when vidIQ decides to tell me this is the best time to post, which is not a thing really. I don't think it works very well, that aside. So I think it's important to be regular with this. And this is why we've said that we're going to be regularly going live every week now at 8 p.m. UK, which is 3 p.m. Eastern time, noon Pacific. Is that right? Is it noon?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's noon here.
So that's what we're trying to do. And with my own live show, I'll go live every Thursday at normal time as well. And Mark, I think you produce your podcast on a regular basis as well. So I know when yours is going out. So it's important, I think, once you've got that regular cadence, to make sure that you sort of run through that. And I know that I could get better with my actual pre-recorded videos, but I don't always do a pre-recorded video every week. So that's something as well. And there's no reason why you can't mix up pre-recorded content with live content, because I think it helps sort of mix up. And this is what we do as well. And I think it's fun to have that ability to do pre-recorded and live.
I'm a big pre-recorded with my podcast, but going back to the calendar and being flexible, if something happens in the world that you want to talk about, I'll obviously jump on, do it, put it out. The other thing for a calendar, and you guys know I'm a big proponent of this, is building in that personal time to keep yourself healthy while you are doing this. So if you know you're trying to stay consistent and you want to do one video a week, 2 videos a week, but you also have a life, you have a family, you have another job, you have whatever, you need to build all that together holistically so that you can do it again without the stress and overwhelm. I'm that person who's going to keep talking about that, because I've seen too many people burn out, myself included. And so that's another reason to have a calendar, so you can put out the content you want to put out and that you have a life. That's very important.
Definitely important. Go ahead, Mark. Sorry.
And I think also it's that kind of sense, depending on what you're doing and who you're doing it for, they can be part of that conversation. If you're, whatever, it might be a particular craft or something that you're sharing your experience in, or a hobby, but actually saying, I'm doing this because this is happening in my life. My kids are starting school, they're going to university. I'm suddenly empty nest and I've got loads of time now, so you can join me on my building my set or doing whatever it happens to be. I think actually, if it serves your purpose and it actually is something that fits with what you're trying to do, you can broaden out what you're sharing. It might be your main content looks a certain way, but around that you've got a bit of flexibility to do some other things as well, which is where, I say, posting on different platforms as just a social rather than your main content comes in, or just that sort of building that wider conversation, which means that people want to be involved in what it is that you're doing.
Content buckets.
Content buckets.
We'll get into all that.
I thought that was just a name for the new show, but obviously it's not. So it's content. Welcome to Content Buckets.
Whatever you want to talk about.
I've just put the link in the chat to our Substack. My Stream Deck button had broken, but tech issues, that's what we do, and we do it live. So I'm copy and pasting furiously as Mark is talking. So what can you do? Anyway, so that's where you can find our Creative Amplifiers Substack. Lots of good info tonight. This has been a fun conversation. Let me just see if there's any other comments in the chat. Oh, of course, Saeed. Saeed says, oh dear. The Earth is a globe, allegedly. And if you're English speaking, you can cover plus 12 time zones. So I still get the whole concept of a perfect time. That's absolutely right. I think it's this is a difficult one. This is back to the comment I made about vidIQ and telling you when the perfect time for posting is. I think all that's trying to do is work out that in your previous posts that you've done on YouTube, which has had the greatest uptick in terms of they do this ranking by views. So they do a ranking by views 1 through to 10. This is YouTube. And basically that metric is telling you how many people are jumping on your video that you've just posted. So that's one is are your subscribers hitting that video that you've just posted? That's metric number 1. Number 2, how well is YouTube actually pushing that out to people that want to be served to that content? So there's a few interesting metrics there. And I think vidIQ looks at those in terms of your posting frequency, how well your video is done at certain times when you posted it, and just tries to give you an idea of when that is. Now, there's certain times of the day when I think that you've got this catchment point where you've got most of the world sort of awake, and therefore there is a time that you can post. But again, it depends on your audience. Look at your metrics. We'll be diving into some of that in the future as well, because the YouTube metrics are a little bit interesting. They can be also off-putting, but I've noticed that through regular posting, and when you go through the 1,000 subscriber count, I don't know whether I'm just talking from experience. I don't know whether there's a switch in YouTube that then tries to elevate this content a little bit more and starts to sort of serve it out to more people. But I've noticed that going through that 1,000 subscribers started to sort of slowly ramp up the number of people watching my videos compared to when I was a lonely 200 sub person crying every night thinking nobody's watching my videos. How do I make this content better? But you know, we've all been there, and we're all still learning, and we're all still growing, and each of us are at different points in our sort of YouTube career as well. And it's not all about the subs. It's not all about the various metrics. If you can reach 10 people with your message, and those 10 people love what you do, and they're your loyal community and your fan base, then that's the way I look at it. If I can help 2 or 3 people with some videos that I push out, then that's my job done. So don't get too hung up about the metrics, but we'll talk about, metric envy and things like that in future shows. We've got some more comments coming in. Let me just flip over here. You can do everything you do with vidIQ in ChatGPT for the most part. Yeah, I mean, I think people like vidIQ, TubeBuddy, TubeSpanner, SpannerTube, whatever they're called. There's so many now. Anything with tube in it and spanner or something. I think they should be a little bit worried, because there's lots of things you can do with ChatGPT. You can download your CSV file with your metrics of a lifetime of your YouTube channel, throw it into ChatGPT and let it analyze stuff. So, yes. Maybe you should do a video on that, Roy, if you've not done already, because I'd be interested in how to take your metrics from a lifetime of YouTube, throw them into ChatGPT, and tell us how to make our videos better. And we'd love to know how you've seen improvement in your channels, what you've done to change things, where you've seen improvements and so on. If you've made one incremental change, maybe it's the thumbnail style, maybe it's some titles, maybe your videos have got better and more views through making one small change. We'd like to know that, because that helps us give information to other people as well. So all comments are welcome, and we'd love to hear from the community as well. Mark and Lisa, do you have anything else that you want to add?
I think I'll just follow on from what you said about the scheduling and that kind of thing. Is I think as long as you know what you're doing, remember it's a journey and it can change at any point. But if you're clear about what you're doing and why, then at least you've got a reason for doing it. So, for example, the reason that I release my show, it's 1 a.m. here in the UK, is because I want to make sure that it's live, it's on all the platforms, so that people in the UK, which is where my biggest audience is, will have it in the morning on their way to work. That's my plan. It also means that because I do it early enough that it's 1 a.m. is because in America, which is my second biggest audience, I'm going to catch people sort of late evening on the East Coast and a little bit earlier on the West Coast. So they've got a sort of a Sunday either catch up if they want to listen to it over the weekend, or it's definitely ready for them when they're on their commute from there. Now, the podcast is downloaded in 100 and can't remember quite how many countries, and so it doesn't work for everyone in that sense, but I do it because those are my biggest audiences to begin with. Yes, Asia and Australasia, and there's audiences there as well, and so it doesn't quite catch them. But then the flip side of all of that, like you say, is it's evergreen. So the reality is that some people are going to be listening to my episode 50, and that was released years ago. So the fact that it was at any particular time it was released doesn't really matter. But the reason I do what I do is for those reasons that I've said. And if that changes and suddenly there's an African country that's listening to it more than anywhere else in the world, then maybe I'd pivot that to make it work for them. But at the moment, I do it for the reasons that I can see by looking at my stats and what seems to be working.
It makes perfect sense.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let me check the comments and see if there's any others. No, there's not. All right. Anything else from anybody else? We've been going for an hour and 15. Can you believe that? Time flies when you are having fun.
I'm excited to do this.
Me too. Yeah. Me too.
To help. Yeah.
So a couple of call to actions real quick. So if you want to join us, then go to the creativeamplifiers.substack.com. I was waiting for the chat to pop in. It just takes a while from pressing that button to going in space and then posting itself on YouTube. So go to creativeamplifiers.substack.com, put in your email address. That's all we're asking. And you'll get this wonderful PDF that you can see here. And then you'll learn all about what we're going to do. Sign up and then you'll be notified when we go live online, when our workshop becomes live, and all that wonderful stuff. Any more for any more? Final words, Mark. Final words, Lisa.
Yeah, just to say thanks very much for being here. It's been great to be able to stream, like I said, to our channel, to our Substack. I think we're going out to our personal LinkedIn as well. So those people who haven't seen me be live in this particular way, hello. thanks for being here and doing whatever. This is going to be fun. We've got so much to offer, and I think my biggest takeaway from all the conversations we've had up to this point is that we know how overwhelming it can be, and so the pacing of these things, giving you the exact information you need at the right time, and that repetition and that support and that hand holding, if you like, just in terms of regular question and answer rather than just a one-off. I think those things that we're going to be able to give you is going to be really supportive. Certainly has been for me, just working with these other two wonderful people. So I definitely is going to be for those people coming in.
Yeah, and we're here to help, and we want to see you succeed. That's our goal. So
definitely
come along.
So we'll be here, same time, same place, next week, Monday, 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. See, multiple time zones. Maybe I should do one for Central Asia as well. And I don't know. That's enough. That's all I need to think about. Anyway, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be back with the gang again, and really enjoyed our time together. And for everybody that's joined us, thank you so much. You're appreciated, all your comments, and keep them flowing. Join us on Substack and keep the conversation going. And we will see you this time next week. Till then, goodbye.
See you later.